NASA Mars mission. NASA says this is how astronauts could live on the red planet. We know that Mars is the fourth planet from the sun. NASA reveals what life on Mars might look like after releasing an artist's conception of a Mars based on the red planet. NASA's long-term goal, of course, is to get to Mars, and while it could still be decades away, the space agency is beginning to build the hype about this from now. NASA's released a concept image of how life on Mars might be for future human colonies to pique spacefarers' interest. The image shows an astronaut stood in one of the huge cannons of Mars with a base in the distance. NASA said the artist's conception shows an astronaut on Mars as viewed through the window of a spacecraft. NASA is returning astronauts to the moon and will test technology there that will be used for sending the first astronauts to the red planet. Before NASA gets humans to Mars, it first has to get people to the moon for the first time since 1972 and in 2024 as part of the Artemis mission, when they will have a female astronaut for the first time. The first astronauts to make it to the lunar surface in 2024 would be tasked with helping to create the moon colony and laboratory, and that would act as a stepping point to Mars. The base would be used as a checkpoint between Earth and Mars, while also allowing astronauts to study the moon in close detail. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine made the announcement. He said he wanted to set up a lunar colony and called on the best and brightest of American industry to help design and develop human lunar landers. While little has been released on how humans would live on Mars, NASA has already started working on communication systems. Construction now started on a 112-foot dish, 34-meter wide, which workers are building in Gladstone, California, which will eventually form part of the array of telescopes. NASA has relied on radio waves to communicate with its machines throughout the solar system, but these waves take an average of 13 minutes to travel what can be up to 121 million mile journey to the red planet, depending on where Earth and Mars are in their respective orbits. This could prove to be too long if hypothetically astronauts on Mars are in the midst of an emergency, for example. Lasers, though, provide almost instantaneous communication and also allow for much larger data sets to be transferred. The project is part of NASA's Deep Space Network, DSN, and NASA described the satellite called DSS-23 as critical for future Mars missions. While DSS-23 will function as a radio antenna, it will also be equipped with mirrors and special receivers for laser beams from distant spacecraft. NASA said this technology is critical for sending astronauts to places like Mars. Humans there will need to communicate with Earth more than NASA's robotic explorers do, and a Mars base with its life support systems and equipment would buzz with data that needs to be monitored, of course. This is by Sean Martin on Express UK. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.